Good afternoon, everybody. The room is full. That's a big surprise, actually. Good to see so many of you here. Also have a bunch of people online. Hope you can hear me. Been some complaints on the microphone in this room. I don't know if the microphone or if it's the Italian using it. No, it's probably the microphone. But if you have any questions, yeah, sounds good. Yeah, the sound is good here. So it's, no, you make your own conclusions. Oh, so it wasn't here. Okay, sorry. Yeah. So the reason we're all here today is to somehow wrap up the semester and also to give you some information about what will happen after summer. There are some big things moving in the university that I believe you should all be aware of at this moment, but I would try to give you a little bit more information. Actually, I got more information about it this morning myself. Then we'll also talk about the never-ending story, the reporting and the planning and stuff like that, because things will also change there a lot. So the plan for today is that I will continue now for, I allocated 45 minutes. I'm not sure that I will use up all 45, but in that case we take a break and you guys bring some more coffee, because after 2 o'clock the dean will appear here. So Staffan will come and talk to you guys about the department after New Year, and also because there is a my term is up. My second term as head of department is up now at the end of the year. So Staffan will talk to you guys about the continuation in January and onwards. So okay, where should we start? Some information. Adobe Connect. I'm not sure if you're all aware of this, but it will terminate itself, maybe not gracefully, but it will not be used by the university, and starting actually today. Don't do any recordings in Adobe Connect, because I'm not sure if you can even record in Adobe today, but they say that we should stop doing that and we should start using Zoom instead. And Zoom claims to be better integrated into my Moodle, so you can create Zoom meetings in my Moodle and everything should run much smoother and well, create absolutely no problems according to the people that I received this information from. So don't shoot the messenger. I'm just a messenger here. But have a look at the information at Medarbetare, or well, the staff website. There is a lot of information. And one thing that is important, if you have some recordings that are very dear to you, well, you better get them out of the Adobe Connect, because it will be discontinued at end of the year. So you will not be able to access your favorite lecture or whatever it is after end of December this year. So you can you should, so to say, take out that material during fall. There are instructions for how to do this also on the web, and if you're not able to do that, you can talk to one of the ICT staff members at the faculty, and they will help you. There's more information. I was hoping to give you some kind of message on the evaluation of our computer and information sciences research subject, which was planned and promised today. As late as, what is it today, Wednesday? Monday we received a note that, well, be prepared. You will be informed Wednesday. And just before this meeting, we got the message. You have to wait another week. So there were apparently too many decisions for the Higher Education Commission to manage in one day, so they postponed the decision about this area until next week. So, but we have received, I don't want to jinx this, but we have received a preliminary, a draft evaluation, and based on that draft evaluation, all of us who had a look at that, and that also includes some people that have looked at other preliminary evaluations. Well, the critique is not that tough. They point at some things that they believe are very good, and they don't. Well, based on that, it's difficult to see that it should create too much problems for us in the future. One thing they are pointing at, though, is the problem is that we used to be 3 departments working together in this area. Now it's 2, and it's a little bit too obvious that it's 2, or well, at that time 3 departments, because it's we need to find better ways to collaborate, or find another type of organization for our research education. But that's a different story, a different question. Since we merged in March 1st, I spent quite some time getting to know the people at Media Technology. I think I know most of the guys working at the computer science, in the former computer science department. So I didn't really see a need for that type of individual meetings. But I managed to talk to 20-something plus of the guys at Media Technology. So I think I have quite a good picture now of the state of that area. And I also have some ideas for what we can do, smaller and some bigger changes that we already started to implement some of them, and you will most likely see some other changes coming during fall. There's also some point here, the salary revision 2018. We just finished the 2017, so yeah, and I'm not sure that all of the 2017 are done yet, because the central negotiations are still planned for, I think. Anyhow, when you guys get back from your summer vacation, beginning of August, something like that, you will get a similar opportunity as last year to sit an hour with me, and that is not the talk we had with I had with you guys in Media Technology that came from Media Technology was more about, well, getting to know you The salary revision is more about assessing performance. So it will be an opportunity for you guys to highlight achievements and so on. That I know some, but I don't know all. So the more information I get, the better. And that information is then used to revise the salaries, and then that information is communicated, hopefully sometime around mid-October, so that you will get the new salary. I think the revision point is October 31st. But as you all know, the process here is always an unknown. Last year it was postponed until end of January, or what was it this year? Yeah, something like that. So many things can happen down the road. Okay. So if you have any questions, I can just tell you guys that are online. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to post them in the chat there, or if you're in Kalmar, you can drop a question on Slack to me, so I can answer them. Any questions so far on this? Nothing new really here. Okay.
One question, if you talk about the research, education and relation,
Yes.
how broad is that? Is it just own computer science, or is it?
No, that's computer and information. Let's see, computer information and computer science, or computer and information science, one way or the other. Data och informationsvetenskap. So it's informatics, media technology, and computer science. The three departments that used to be, and now it's like the two departments. The problem, that I mentioned before, was more or less that informatics did it their way, and media technology and computer science, well, we did it our way. And that was kind of obvious in the education plan, and that wasn't good, and they pointed that out in the preliminary evaluation. So it could be that we need to address something with that's a study plan, as it's called, not an individual one though. Okay, moving on. And now I will give you some Swedish English slides here. Thing is that I couldn't find this information in English, although we're an international university in Småland. But think of it as an opportunity to practice your Swedish. And I know the first bench here is, besides Ola, then really likes this. So what is this knowledge environment Linné about? Well, to be honest, I'm not really sure. But it's a concept that was proposed by our new Vice Chancellor. And he has a background at Linköping University. And at Linköping University, they have a department for thematic studies, tema. And I think that this is something in that direction. So because I don't really know what this will become, or where it will end up at someday. But when I go to this department in Linköping, I get a better idea for what it can be about. So that could be something for you guys to think about. But the idea here is to create some kind of larger environments that addresses societal challenges. And well, there are quite a few societal challenges around, but we should do this, we should organize ourselves in these knowledge environments, and they could be multidisciplinary, cross-cutting faculties, but they don't have to. But if you read the texts, it's probably better if you are cross-cutting faculties, because it's not something that is similar to the Linnaeus centers, the research centers like DISA, because there are not really any money involved here. There is some money for administration of these knowledge environments, and there could also be some redistribution of some funding, but it's not as much as for the LNU, the Linnaeus centers. Today we got this information from the dean, and this is the process for the 2018 first run of this, trying to find a couple of these environments at the university. We don't know how many. We don't know if there will be just a handful, or if we talk about 10 plus or something like that. We don't know. The process here is that June through August, that's now, we should prepare some documents with ideas or even descriptions of already existing environments, and send these to the dean. And for us here, the deadline for doing that, to send them to the dean, is August 11. And that doesn't give us much time to do anything, given that vacation for most of us begins next week, and if you're 40 or older, you will be back after, well, August 8th or something like that. So,
Sorry, Jesper.
yeah.
So is it supposed to be sent to the dean or to the?
No, I come to that. So the question was if you should send these directly to the dean, and the answer to that is no. You send them to you send them to me, and I send them to the dean after, well, discussing them internally, and then the dean, together with the, well, I don't really know the decision process there, but then they will send it to the vice chancellor's office. This one here, it should be a really short description. You know, when you ask people in academia for descriptions, you end up with pages. I don't see that this should be more than a page. But that leaves, well, an open space for you guys to send in ideas, send in descriptions of existing collaborations within the faculty or with other departments and other faculties, because the more input we get, well, we can see if there are ideas that can be combined, and, well, at the end of the day, we may find something that can actually match the criteria for one of these environments. And these are the criteria, and I will. A knowledge environment is created when complete academic environments collaborate around a shared vision for how to manage societal challenges. So it's kind of broad, really broad. What they are looking for here is I think, a different take on excellence compared to the LNU centers. The LNU centers was very directed at well, research, but here it also involves education. What they are looking for is interdisciplinary collaborations. That should be, well, there should be some new, some fresh things in there. And the idea here is to gather resources. So these environments will have sufficient resources to manage or run education and research, and also to have a continuous quality improvement work going. All this without any dedicated funding. The parts that can be included in a complete academic environment can be parts of, or a complete or full subject, a center, LNUC, collaboration platforms. That was like funding for that last year, if you remember that. They should span the range of the educational range from basic education to PhD education. So these are the criteria they plan to use to select these environments. So I had a question in today's meeting, and that was like, how much time should we invest in this? Well, if we look around at the university, and if we look at some of the societal challenges that the Vice Chancellor has mentioned, well, one is school, education. Okay, the second one is digitization. And then there are some other examples. But 2 out of 5 examples, well, it will be difficult for us to not be involved. So the question then is, should we take the lead, or should we be in the passenger seat? What do you think? I'm kind of fed up with applications right now after, well, working hard with the Masters of Engineering application and so on. But I don't see, well, a one page here. I don't see that as a challenge. This is like the first step, and then we move into a more formal application later in the fall. But yeah.
I mean, in a way, from what you've described, what we could do is we could just collect, as you said, the collaborations and what you're doing without taking an active leading role, but just making this known and say, well, this is the kind of things that we can provide. And then well, these are the kind of technology IT assets that we can rely on. But then, of course, the question is if you don't get any funding or any time for this, how does this
Yeah.
synergize with the rest of our activities?
Okay, so the suggestion here is to collect the ideas and see if there is someone else who is interested in driving, be in the driver's seat for one of these efforts. And I agree with that, but on the other hand, well, we have one of these. Where we have like the full range. We have cross-disciplinary, maybe not societal challenges, astrophysics and tweets and maybe something.
E-health.
E-health. That's the third one, yeah.
The example that the Vice Chancellor usually uses when he describes knowledge environment, and that's
Mm.
one, that's 7.
Mm.
So we are at least part of one initiative that I know of. So if we just want to formally be involved and not
Mm.
be totally disconnected, we are already so.
Yeah. And the advantage there is that we have the full education range as well. When it comes to the school part, I think that there could be something. Maybe it's not there. There could be something, because we have the new professor at the Department of Pedagogics. We have the group at our department. I think I see an opportunity there. But the question there is if we should be leading that or if we should be waiting for someone else to take the lead. Yep.
Another one is our new research group with cyber-physical systems and see how we can work with mechanical engineering.
Definitely.
And if we start that work here, we have the core for the next steps to take.
So the suggestion here was to see if we could come up with something together with, for instance, mechanical engineering, maybe electrical engineering. That's definitely also an opportunity. My main concern here is societal challenge. What is a societal challenge? Is it this, or is it, well, what is it? There are a lot of them. The question here is if you go to Linköping, it's like environment. Okay, that's big. That's really big. But take some time to go in and have a look at the information on medarbetare staff about this. Write up something, not more than a page, send it to me. The idea here is to if I get it the first week of August, or well, after the first week of August, it shouldn't take you too much time to do this. I can compile, so to say, our input and send it to the dean, and then there will be a meeting where we will try to compile and negotiate and well, merge and mix and well, the suggestions from the faculty, and then the dean's estimate is something like 5 from the Faculty of Technology. But remember then, as with DISA, how many endorsing faculties did we have? Like 4 or 5? All of them, yeah. So
That time was a decisive factor.
yeah.
I don't know if there's
No, but it's the same. So if we do something with pedagogics and they propose or send in our our proposal as their proposal, and the Faculty of Technology does the same, well, then that is of course a stronger case compared to if we send in something where we collaborate with other faculties and they don't send that one in. So please make a note, and well, you still have a couple of days until the 25th. Okay. So, you know, in October, November, somewhere, you typically get a plan, not a fixed schedule, but you get a plan for what you should spend your time as an employee at the university on next year. This is something that typically well, Kalle and Matthias and I talk to you about, discuss with you, and the idea here is to make sure that we use the taxpayers' money efficiently, and that we get the right resources for what we are supposed to do in terms of education and research and other types of collaboration activities. Then we have these study periods, and since we have the planning based on a calendar and the academic year is not a calendar year, we start with the planning of study period 3, and then sometime in April you're supposed to report back what you spent time on. And this goes on. So sometime in March, April, you're supposed to, and this can be done slightly different. Some of you plan the full semester, some even plan the full year. Doesn't really matter. What's important here is the follow-ups. Because last week we did just a quick check, and we have something like free resources corresponding to more than 2, possibly even 3 full-time staff members. So these sums up to considerable number of hours that we could invest in more applications, more education, more administration. No.
It's how many percent?
300.
300%?
Yeah, so three full-time equivalents, approximately.
Out of?
Yeah, it's a... Yeah, but it depends. If you take what we're talking about now is not PhD students and so on. So it's a little bit more than 10, 15, something like that, 10%.
3 out of 10?
Yeah. And there is more. There is probably the numbers are probably more on the higher, not on that compared to. So what you're supposed to do now is to report back the time for the study period 4. At some point I thought that maybe I don't have to remind them one day, but that day hasn't come yet. So I will probably send out an email too. But what's important here is that y- it's not just about, so to say, teaching, even though that is what most of you believe is what others tell you to do, and the rest they shouldn't, well, you're supposed to plan everything. I see that, and it becomes more and more obvious that we have had a couple of projects recently that where we don't use up the money. Why don't we use up the money? Because we don't plan people spending them. And that's not good. And it's a similar problem to that we have unused resources now. And some of the time that you have, at least if you're a teacher or assistant professor, associate professor, you have this competency development time. That is time that you should plan and report back what you have done. It's not easy, I know, but I've seen examples where people had 20% for a full year, done nothing. One day every week. And we can do better. Yeah?
I have a question. When you say reporting, do you mean reporting results or reporting the hours?
Both. When it comes to this, so when it comes to teaching, you don't need to report the results. You don't need to. But if you have, say that you have 15%, and you wrote an application, you prepared a paper, well, on that time, well, report that. Otherwise,
But I mean, do you mean that we should, for instance, if I'm writing an application, should I time my hours when I'm writing the application and say, I will work 35.8 hours working with this, I work
some people do that.
4 hours. Yeah, I mean,
Some people do that. I don't say that you have to do it. I just say that, yeah. Yeah.
we need to do that because I mean we have the rough planning in DS9, right?
Mhm.
We have these allocated hours for this and that,
Mhm.
and we have that time for that we have more or less to move. Are those hours the ones that we use and then it's like okay, yeah, we use that, or should we like keep the hours and say like yeah, actually I work in examination instead of 16 hours, I work 18 or I work 14. And what
But
level of detail?
do you count hours at all?
For instance, I don't count hours.
No. No.
This is something that we should
But but the thing here is that I've seen a couple of examples over the years where apparently people have done nothing.
Yeah, but I mean that's a different. I mean that's like reporting the results, right?
Yeah, but I said both. If you get 15% and well, achievements or results or whatever or what you've done is nothing. If the department allocates 20%
But I mean,
for someone and they have no plan for that time, why should the department allocate that time?
yeah, I mean, I'm just thinking of the practicalities. I mean, if I have my planning and then I have some courses, I have some hours for that, then I have maybe a project, I have some hours for that, and then maybe 30 hours of administration.
Hmm?
What do you want us to do? Is it to do like a report back on those hours saying like, yeah, that amount of hours was correct, or no, I actually worked like 20 more hours in this application? Or is it just a report on the results
So for this time, competency development time, I would like to see some planning and some follow-up connecting to that planning. You see? So you do it here and you do it here. So this is the follow-up. Because if you planned and you, well, I didn't do that because I had to do this or that instead. It's what we're not talking. It's not like surgery. It's like not that type of level of precision here. It's more like a feeling for okay, this guy actually did something and there was a plan and so on. Yeah.
So what type of planning we're supposed to do in research? I mean, this year I want to publish, submit 3 papers, 2 applications. Sometimes, yeah, is an ISP or sometimes papers, I mean, born suddenly. I mean, something.
So I would say if you can move from papers born suddenly sometimes, the truth is probably papers born suddenly most frequently. And then if you can move away from that and get more into planning mode, I think that would benefit.
Yeah, that's why I'm asking,
Yeah.
because I mean, I'm not used to doing that. And,
No.
I'm asking, so what should we do? I mean, should I say, okay, I want to submit a paper to XC 2019?
Yeah, but if you're comfortable with that type of that level of planning, fine. So if you want to go down on that level of detail, it's fine. But what's important here is that you can show that you actually plan to do something. If that something is a paper on a specific conference, or if it's a result that might be a paper, but at least that you have a plan for what you will spend the time on. Yep.
So my problem is the year plan, because to me it's not visible. I mean, I don't even know what I'm supposed to do in the autumn exactly, because the hours are not done. So how am I supposed to plan?
But you have, the thing here is that you have a plan,
Yes,
and it's a plan.
yes, but if I don't know how much time I will have to research, if I have 5% and I plan for 20, then that's just a waste of time. And if I have 20% and I plan for 5, then I have lots of spare time to do. So I think it's a great idea to plan. I just would like to have a clear document somewhere that I can go in and see my year plan. And that year plan is, it will never be 100% accurate, of course, because sometimes things happen. But for me, it's been chaotic the last few years, which makes it almost impossible to plan, is my opinion.
I would say that you're kind of an exception here, not the rule, Morgan. So planning a year ahead is, well, it's not a plan. It's more or less some things, some elements in the plan are fixed. Oftentimes you have like recurring courses that you're involved in every year and so on. But then you have these exceptions, and I'm sorry to say, but your life has been full of exceptions the last 3 years, which makes it's not easy to plan something that, well, was planned for, what was it, 150 hours, that maybe took up 800 hours for you.
But if we just put it, so this year plan, can I go and watch what is planned for me, how all the different percentages are allocated somewhere? Because I've been told that DS9 is correct afterwards and not correct before.
I think that,
Well, I tried to do it before,
yeah.
as far as I know the information I have.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because whenever I look at something and ask, why is it this way? Then they say, no, you can't trust those numbers. They will be adjusted later. People make the plan. So if I look and I ask, why do someone get 200 hours for a course and they get 100 hours? Then I always get the response, no, those are not the right numbers. So I never dare to trust those numbers, except to go and see what I got last year from it and what I will get this year. So I think it would be great if I could have a document that says, this year you're supposed to give these 2 courses, you can have 20% competence development, you can have 5% in this project, and then if it adjusts,
Yeah.
that's no problem. I just want that overall idea.
But I think that there is such a document.
Okay.
But the problem is that that document, to a large extent, requires input
Yeah.
from some of you. Because if you're a project manager, you're supposed to submit, how you plan your project.
Yeah. But I do that to get.
Sorry?
I do that to the financial officers.
Yeah. And this is something that will, and now I'll move on. So here, because in 2020, Ritendo will be, is planned, and we all know what a plan is planned to be used for the entire planning. So not this year, but next year. And Ritendo has a connection to Primula, which means that these numbers should only be registered once and not 4 times as it currently is. And hopefully, as a project manager, you can go in and you can flip these numbers up and down over the different study periods. So that, and that will create a lot of confusion for Kalle and Matthias, but it's still something that could be possible or should be possible. So Ritendo, since it has a direct connection to Primula, things like vacation, leave of absence, stuff like that will be directly reflected into this system. DS9 is more or less just a strange-looking interface to an Excel sheet. It has its advantages, but it definitely has weaknesses, especially when it comes to year planning. So Ritendo, Matthias and Kalle are, should I use the word struggling? Struggling currently with that. It has a lot to do with designing how we work as a department. With how do we do the competency development? Can we allocate it? Do we allocate it over the year as 20%, or is it like more intensive 50% in one study period and things like that? What's important is that we end up somewhere where we do something that is good enough, because the day we spend more time on planning and reporting than we actually gain from it, well, we're dumb. Don't think that we're there yet. Maybe Ritendo will bring us closer to that point, but hopefully not. Okay, before I hand over to Staffan, do you have any questions, information here in the group? Or okay. So, Staffan. Nu får du prata mygga.
Okej. Har vi folk med oss i kammaren?
Ja, det har du. Så den fäster du där uppe någonstans. Så jag tror du fick
Så.
där får du fästa någonstans. Du får hoppa in här lite. Om du ställer dig här.
Är det någon kamera?
Ja, om du ställer dig där så ser
Ja.
du ser vad som händer där.
Ett ögonblick. Så.
Så.
Var ser jag vad som händer?
Där, nu ser du där. Det går ut.
Det går ut.
Ja. Så att, och här har du lite, om du ser där så har du lite, där kan du få frågor. Och där kan du få frågor från Kalmargänget.
Ja. Så jag får inte gå ditåt alltså?
Jo, du får du säkert, men stå där.
Du kan inte vrida kameran.
Nej, det kan jag inte.
Okej. Ja, ta med dig papperskorgen. Nej, den papperskorgen i dörren. Mm. Mm. Okay, so I guess you know why I'm here. I have to appoint the head of the department for the next period of 3 years. And Jesper has been prefect, head of your department for 5.5 years now. So he has been for first 1 year, one period of 3 years, and then a second period of 3 years. And then usually we change prefect after 2 periods. That's the, so to say, default scenario. But since I understand that Jesper works very well as a prefect, and from my point of view, he works extremely well, I would say, as a prefect. My suggestion would be to ask him to continue for a 3rd period, actually. And then I'd like to know if you think this is according to your opinion as well, that he works very well as a prefect, and that we could, so to say, make the process rather easy. Or if you think that we should rather change prefect and make a recruitment process, so to say, and see if what other candidates there might be. So what is your spontaneous opinion?
Working great. Working great.
Jesper is working great.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah. So I think that also after the marriage, it will be good to have some continuity as he has been leading the process. It will be weird if he suddenly stops now.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just for us at Media Technology, it's kind of like the beginning.
So you have your background in media technology. Yeah.
So my opinion, it would be good actually if he's
Yeah.
around a little bit more to follow up.
Yes.
The process.
This is a strong argument.
Yeah.
I agree. Mhm.
I agree too.
Okay. Yeah. So does everybody agree that we could make this kind of quick process, that we should? Okay. Very nice to hear, actually. I'm happy to hear it. I'm happy because you're all happy with Jesper, and I'm also happy that we can make a quick process. And you must be much more. Diana, please.
I think he's done an amazing job, but he needs some more administrative support.
Of course.
Just to keep his level of wellness better.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Like we agree, but does he agree?
It's amazing, but he needs help.
Yeah. Okay. I have talked to him. Otherwise, I wouldn't have suggested it. He is. He's willing to continue for another period. Yeah. So we know that. But I have the impression that you must be a lot more in the department people, a lot more people than you are here today. Yeah. So are roughly twice as many, or is that about it? Something like that. Yeah.
There are people in Kalmar.
Yeah. We have also people in
I don't
Kalmar.
know exactly how many they are there.
Mhm. But maybe I should, I think it would be a good idea then that I send out an email message to the entire department and ask everybody to give everybody the opportunity to, so to say, to give their opinion. That's probably a good idea since you're quite limited then. Mm. Yeah. What do you think, Morgan? Okay. Because then we could do the following, that I send out this message to the department, and I give like a couple of weeks or something like that for everybody to send opinions. And I mean, of course, you that are also present here can answer this message if you want. And I kind of get a picture, and then if everything is looking positive, as it seems as, then I bring the suggestion of assigning Jesper for another period, this suggestion of a decision goes to the union. You might not know everybody this, but the system in Sweden is that, how many of you are actually from an international origin here? Not Swedish. It seems to be most of you actually. Yeah? But you know, in Sweden, the labor unions have a very strong position, and if we are going to decide about who is going to be assigned as a prefect, this has to be negotiated with the unions before I can take a decision about it, actually. So that would be the next step then. When I intend to do something, I have to negotiate it with the unions, and then I can take the decision after that. But I will keep the department informed about when these things are happening, because the point is when to have these negotiations with the union, the point is, of course, that you that are members of the union should be able also to act through your unions. So that's why it's important to know actually where these things are happening. Okay, and then a decision could be taken, I would say, in the end of August or something like that. That would be the time schedule, so to say.
Just a follow-up question on Diana's comments about having some help against the support.
Yeah.
Is that something that Jesper can decide himself if he would appoint some vice prefect or whatever, or is it something that you need to
No, I would say this question has two different parts. If we are really talking about, so to say, the standard administrative support that is coming from the office, the administration office, this has to be negotiated with Håkan Halmer, who is head of that of the office. And I can say that there are several now candidates that will become prefects at the end of the year that have raised this question that we ought to increase the administrative support for the prefects. So there will be, we will have a particular a meeting next week, actually, me and Håkan Halm and a few other people, to discuss what kind of support is needed and how we can actually handle that. And I think we, my impression is that we need actually to hire a couple of more people in the office, in the administrative office to be able to support the new prefects to a larger extent. So this is an issue that will be dealt with. But of course there is also this kind of more I would say, what do you call it, more qualified administrative tasks that you have within the department, like you were talking about before I came here, about how you distribute the work hours among the colleagues for and how this is done, which is a little bit more qualified administrative tasks, so to say, which the administrative office can't help us with. Okay, and that kind of tasks you have to decide within the department, so to say, and there the prefect is free actually to give these as a task to some of the among you colleagues. You can choose somebody, any teacher actually could help with these kind of more qualified administrative tasks. So I guess that answers your question. Yeah. So it depends, I would say, on what kind of task it is. And I know you have had.
He has also proposed different committees that will help him in the planning and the decision of things that will happen. So, which will relieve him from these decisions, more or less. But at the end, there is always, he as a prefect, he has
yeah, he's the
responsibility.
Exactly, absolutely.
Throw it away.
Yeah, one could say the following, that the prefect has the power to decide about the internal organization of the department. I don't have to deal with that, but the prefect can decide about that thing. Yeah. Okay, and I think what you refer to, and probably Jesper has explained that he has, you know, this plan of dividing you into a number of groups. I don't know what you call it, but yeah, because he explained that to me like half a year ago or so. Is it something that has materialized, or is it still on the planning level? It's still on the planning level. Okay, it doesn't. Okay. All right. So what happens now? Do we have any other points on the agenda, or? No? You don't know? Because I don't think Jesper is coming back. I think he left. So probably this is the last point on the agenda. This is what I guess. Okay. Thank you.
Yes, it's a cake time. Yep.
Already? So can anybody shut down the system here?